Often we hear people talk about communication. Well, we have to get better at communication. We have to become better communicators. Now we're starting to hear things like we have to coach people to become better communicators or to possess better communication. So how do we do that? Well, the funny thing is, coaching is a form of communication. So how do we coach people to become better communicators? Now, let's be honest. Communication is a very wide topic. There is a lot of variances, interdependent relationships when we talk about communication, from body language, eye contact, written communication, the use of language, how we listen to one another. All of those things affect communication. So when we look at communication, there's a couple different strategies you can use. One is called define and coach. If you feel like your team or your organization needs to get better at communication, define it. Great communication is, and fill in the blank. Great communication is a set of individuals or a person who actively listens to one another for true understanding, without prejudice and absolute respect for other people's opinions. Now, I just made that up on the spot. That's not a full definition, but I want to give you a glimpse of what you could do to define it. Once you have a definition, and I would encourage you to co-author this with your people. So if you're a manager of a team, what a great way to get them to author what they need to change. Once you have the definition, ask people to define or list actions that they need to exhibit to support the definition. Guess what they just did? They just authored the things they need to change. Number 3, then coach to it. So we've got our definition of great communication. We know the actions, the things people need to do to support that definition. Now you can coach to it. Here's the cool thing. If you involve your people as part of the process of defining great communication, they become more receptive. Why? Because they've created it. So then you have to practice it. So when I think about active listening, really controlling ourselves from interrupting, having a sense of restraint. But active listening is the ability to paraphrase back to somebody what they said without interrupting. We have a client who does a lot of written communication. So what we would do is something very unique. We would highlight certain parts of the document in different color highlighters to get them thinking about what they could do to improve the written communication, or what was wrong with this communication, which did what? Built awareness. And language. How often do we hear people say, hey, you're doing a great job, but, versus, hey, you're doing a really good job, and I'd love to combine time management with the things that you do so well. Inserting the word and for the word but. And that takes practice. It doesn't happen because we just ask people what to do. So remember, if you want communication, you have to define it. You have to know the things that people need to do to support it. Then you can coach to it. And last, we have to practice it. So often people just mandate or rhetorically tell people, here's what I need from you. You've got to listen more. What if somebody doesn't know how? And if you have someone who's interruptive or disruptive, they're going to need to practice it. And oh, by the way, how many emails and text messages have we ever received? And we're wondering, what the heck was this person trying to say? So they need to practice written communication. And our language, the words we use, can be such a huge part of creating great communication. Now, in the coaching world, we encourage 5 words. We share opportunity, perspective, observation. Because it's different than, I'm really frustrated with you, John, because, versus saying, John, I think we have an awesome opportunity, and I want to share some perspectives with your permission. Which one would you respond to more favorably? The goal of coaching is to have a good conversation. The goal of coaching great communication is to coach to your defined expectations.